Hi, it's Chris here today, and I'm going to share with you how I make this journey card for my nephew. So I'm going to start with my Mermaid Lagoon Distress ink, and I'm just going to go over my background. I want the bottom part to be a little bit darker than the top part, so I'll just use a little bit less ink on the top. Like that. And then when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spritz it with water to kind of give it a mottled look. Then, while that's drying, I'm going to take my sequence waste stamp from Sin City Stamps, and I'm going to stamp over the top of it in various locations. It doesn't matter that it's wet. I'm just going to kind of stamp a little bit off the edges. That. Just to kind of create some background texture. And then I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. Could use a heat gun if you have one. I like to pretty much just use my light to dry it really quick because I'm impatient. Then my next thing is I'm going to take this ship stamp that's also from Sin City Stamps. And this time I'm going to use archival ink since I'm using something that's already wet. And I'm going to really ink up my stamp. Make sure I got lots of ink. And then I'm going to kind of ink my image halfway across my card. Like that. When you're done, you end up with this nice little ship. Then, because I want to kind of create the illusion that it's kind of a sunset, I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress marker and I'm going to use the marker edge. I'm just going to color here on my craft sheet. And then I'm going to add some water to it to make it easier to move around. And I'm going to take my water brush and I'm just going to pick up some of that. And I'm just going to kind of create like a half circle in here. A little too much water, so I got to keep adding a little bit. Because I'm trying to make this look like the sun. In the background. Then, to continue on my card, I'm going to start with, well, that's kind of drying. I'm going to set it off to the side, let it dry for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and I have another Sin City stamp, Greeting, from the Wishes set. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink that up real quick. And I'm just using a piece of scrap paper that I had laying around. Make sure I don't have extra ink on there because I went really quick. I'm just going to stamp it on there. Give me a nice, neat image. Probably should make sure it's nice and straight for you there. And I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to real quick cut across. Try and get it kind of straight. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dovetail the ends. like that. You can see I had a little bit of ink still on my hand, so I've got some little ink smudges, but that's not going to matter when we're done. So my next step is I'm going to see how my card is dry. You can kind of see where the sun is out there in the background, or the moon, or whatever. Then I'm going to go ahead and pull out another color, my Distress ink. Don't look in my drawer. With my antique linen. And switch off my... I'm just going to go ahead and make this a little bit darker because the white's a little bit too dark. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of yellow that up a little bit with some antique linen paper. And actually I've got some blue ink on my hands and some black ink, and really it's just kind of adding to the dimension of the product. And then my piece is still drying. I'm going to do one more piece. I'm going to take just a piece of black cardstock that's about the same size as my trading card that I put on there. I'm going to use the sequence waste stamp again. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink it up, this time with archival ink. And I'm just going to stamp all across this black cardstock, trying to kind of make it look like a bunch of fish netting as I'm going. So it doesn't matter that I'm overlapping it, it's just kind of filling in the spots. Kind of like that. So far I'm going to have my two pieces. I have my fish net, I have my trading card, and then I'm going to have my saying. So all I need now is a background, and so I'm going to actually take a piece of corrugated paper, and instead of using the corrugated side, what I wanted to do is I want to use the flat side because I think it's going to be easier, but I do want to kind of try and get in here and see if I can do this. Rip up some of it a little bit, just to kind of distress it. Rip up the top layer and just kind of pull it off in a few spots to give it some different dimension. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along here, trying to see which way is going to be best. So I'm going to start like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and I've got some Tim Holtz washi tape. I'm going to put across the top, and then I want to put some across the bottom. So I'm going to kind of start like that. Lay this on here, see if I like it. And I think I need a little bit more distressing in a couple spots, so I'm going to go ahead and rip this up in a couple other spots, just to kind of give it some more texture, because I covered up a lot of what I had there. Okay, I'll go ahead and bend these over just so that they're covered like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and find my adhesive real quick. I'm going to go ahead and add this piece first. Just kind of place it off kilter here. Then with my painted piece, I'm going to go ahead and put that kind of down like this. Then try and figure out where I want my saying, and I think it's just a little bit too long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Add my adhesive, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this down to my card, and I'm all done. Hope you enjoy.